Now then, welcome back to another video. If it's your first time watching, my name's Dan, this is my E46 M3 and it's acting up a bit, and in this video hopefully we can find a solution to that. Now I've slowly been putting this car back on the road, trying to get it back to Germany so that I can drive it again. And the Nordschleife, it's not been to the Nürburgring for 3 years and I wish I was already there, but the car keeps surprising me with new faults. In the previous video we fixed some issues with the wheel speed sensors and some other little bits just to get it through the MOT, but yesterday it started misfiring, which sounds like a small job, right? A small thing, just a misfire. Well, unfortunately, when I plugged it in, the slight misfire problem kind of exploded a little bit because the diagnostic machine was saying there's a fault with the ECU, and I tried 2 different machines and they both came to the same conclusion. Something is wrong with the ECU, or at least there's something wrong with the communication through the OBD port to the ECU. But the car's also got a misfire, so you know, it doesn't look good, does it? It doesn't look good, but we've got a load of upgrades to come for this car soon. We're going to work on the cooling, bigger oil cooler, and we're going to rework and refresh the front suspension. But before I do any of that, we need to make sure it runs right, because currently nicked. It's nicked gut, I think is what they might say over there, right? It's broken, so I've got no engine management light, but what I do have is a car which sounds like it's running on maybe 4 cylinders, sounds like a Subaru, yeah. But yeah, in this video we're going to try and fix that, so let's start. No, you can buy this as well if you want. Cool, isn't it? So I did a load of wiring changes to this car, thinned out the loom, and that sounds extravagant. I didn't do a load of wiring changes, but I did thin out the loom, got rid of stuff that we didn't need. Now, is it an error of the ECU? Is the ECU faulty, or have I trapped a wire? Have I missed an earth? Have I done something like that? That would be better, wouldn't it? The car did seem to run and drive all right up until yesterday. Either something was brittle and finally failed, or I don't know, whatever. But the engine ECU lives under there, so let's have a quick visual inspection first. So my ECU has actually been adapted from the stock one. It's been upgraded to a MSS 54 HP, I think it is. So maybe something on that's failed, I don't know. I think that's all software though, excuse me. And that is to run this airbox, and we're not using a MAF, we're using an inlet air temperature sensor and a MAP sensor. So, visual inspection wise, I guess we're just checking that everything is connected. And is there any suspect wiring around here? All right, the fact that the car runs and doesn't have an engine management light, that's got to be a clue, right? That would have to be a clue, I think. Is there a fuse for the communications to the OBD port? Could that be a thing? But if so, why is that fuse broken, right? Fuses don't just pop for no reason. I don't know what I was expecting to see down here. I guess I was interested if there was maybe like a trapped wire, because I had this cover off. I've had this cover off a few times. But why would that stop communications to the ECU? All right, I just got lost in Charlotte's Web a little bit. It's kind of on the internet, because I remembered I have a different scanner from back in the day when I first bought this car. This is PA Soft BMW scanner, which some of you might recognize. I think it was a European company that basically just had a good idea, right, to make scanning tools, and then everyone just started copying them, and I think this is probably a copy really, but the company's been defunct for a long time now. But it's a really good scanner and it's really good software that they did. It's a shame that, you know, nobody wants to pay for stuff, right? Of course, why would you? But I finally got it working after downloading one version of the software which was a virus. I've got the software somewhere, I don't know where it is, probably on an old computer back home or something like that, you know. But it's the same error. Internal driver diagnostics chain, which is the same as INPA was saying. The generic snap-on scanner that we used at the garage when I had the MOT done, that just said ECU fault, but this one says internal error driver diagnostics chain. So just checking if it's the same error really, but lost an hour there pissing about. All right, you might be wondering if any of the other modules are working, right? Is the OBD port actually working? Well, I was just wondering the same, so let's find out. We did the wheel speed sensors yesterday and they seem to work, so let's try that again. Yeah, that module works. No errors, no problem. Is there anything else engine-wise we can check? I don't think so. So the car's not got central locking or alarm or airbags or anything like that anymore. Well, this has currently got one in there, but we need to change this wheel. Fun project coming on that, by the way. We're going to get rid of this, but keep cruise control. That's coming soon. Exciting times. I can see the identity of the car. There's BMW part number for the car. Didn't know that was a thing, but okay. So yeah, I mean, I can enter into the software and I could maybe put a screen recording thing on this in the future, but can I see any of the analog values? Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. I don't know if you can see any of that, but I can see analog values and they appear to be correct. Sucked air temperature. They appear to be, yeah, it's about right. Just out of interest then. It's definitely still misfiring. Okay, so interestingly, I can look at other modules such as the DSC, and I can also read analog values for like engine speed, for the water temperature and stuff like that, and that all is accurate. So that information's correct, but what it can't do for some reason is read error codes. When you go to read an error code, you get a driver diagnostics error. So why don't we just ignore that for now? Maybe there's something else going on there. Why don't we try, I think I've got some spare coil packs. Why don't we just try some coil packs? Why don't we ignore the computer for a little bit and just see if we can fix this with parts? Because it usually is. I mean, I've never actually had one fail, but they are a weak point on these. And I think I've got a spare. So someone gave me a coil pack a few years ago as a present because they'd sold their M3 and they had this coil pack and it was new and they're like, oh, you may as well have this. But I can't find it. I've got it somewhere. Well, they're definitely a different design. I've got a bag full of coil packs for 330s. I wonder if we can just start the engine and unplug. We're not going to get shocked, are we? We're not going to get some volts. Let's try that. That one's working. That one's working. Oh. That one is not working. Cylinder 3 or cylinder 4? That one's working. That one's working. That one's working. Right, cylinder 3 then, or 4, whatever that is. It's not my ECU. Did you see that? So that plug which is lifted, if I disconnect it, no difference. Connect it again. Excuse me. No difference. They're not bolted in, are they? Fucking hell. That's in there well. God. I don't think they're bolted in, but it fucking feels like it. Right, I'm gonna go and try and find that spare one that I was given. Hopefully it's around here somewhere. All right, I can't find it. I've been looking for ages. It might be at home. It might be at home. So if not, I'll get one from the motor factors tomorrow and hopefully that'll solve our problem. I don't know what's going on with maybe the ECU's been like that since it was upgraded to the CSL style. I don't know, but let's try a coil pack tomorrow. Right, welcome back. I know it's the same video, but you get the idea. I've got some exciting packages here. This is some new interior pieces for us to install. We'll do that today. But also I have some very interesting news about Bob. If the smell of wildflowers flow free through my blood. Yeah, I've got some very exciting news about the car, okay? I crumbled at the weekend. I wasn't able to come up here over this weekend, but I actually asked on the M3 Owners Club about this problem talking to the ECU. Has anyone ever seen it before? And the chap who actually did the map for this ECU and Airbox replied, he said, oh, don't worry about that, it's fine. It's kind of a quirk of this conversion sometimes. But the interesting point about that is I was thinking I can't get any codes out of the ECU. No, it's just that the ECU maybe didn't have any codes. I've got the coil pack, look. I say I was given this probably about 6 or 7 years ago. Yeah, my friend Brett, who I don't see much anymore, he had an M3, and this is a brand new Bosch coil pack for an M3. So let's install it, see if the misfire goes, and then what we'll do for a test is we'll unplug this, there's a little throttle position sensor here, we'll unplug that and see if we get a code for it. But basically, it might be that we had 2 issues, right? Or maybe we didn't, we had 1.5 issues. We had a misfire from a coil pack going down, and we never actually had an issue talking to the ECU, it's just this code that you get due to the conversion. Let's find out, that could be a very, very good result. Okay, the coil pack is installed, so let's fire it up and see if it misfires. Oh yeah, this was the original coil pack as well, so it does look pretty knackered, but it's a genuine original BMW coil pack, so that's made it 23 years it's made it, so impressive. So now, hopefully, no misfiring with system. No misfire. Well, that's absolutely fantastic. Once again, a bit of a long cut, but happy enough with that. Let's unplug this throttle position sensor now. So just off the front of the engine, you have to unplug that one when you're doing the oil change anyway, and sometimes I forget to plug it back in, but let's go see now if we do actually get a code for that, which means that yes, we can get codes. Of course. Yeah, it was well worth getting a virus for. Bloody Trojan horse. Who do you think you are? Yep, excellent. So there we've got, look, throttle position sensor codes. So yeah, what a journey that was. Wow. Well, let's finish off the rest of the car now. And maybe I'll do another virus scan. Get down the clinic, lads. All right, just to wrap that up then, in case you're unsure of the events that led us to that. So I had a misfire, right? I had the misfire, and I also couldn't get any codes from the ECU, or I thought I couldn't get any codes from the ECU. What was actually happening was the ECU wasn't flagging any codes for a misfire, which for a coil pack failing or failed, I would have expected a code for that, but apparently not. So in reality, we had 2 problems, but we didn't because one of them wasn't even a problem anyway. We've changed the coil pack and the misfire's cleared. We found manually, we took the coil packs out and we've discovered that one of the coil packs wasn't coil packing. It could have been the spark plug as well, of course, but we know it was most likely going to be the coil pack. And yeah, everything, all my wiring, once again, my wiring has been proven to be A-OK, perfect, you could say, maybe. But yeah, so that's it. Good stuff. I'll plug that sensor back in so that's done. Thank you. Excellent. All right, well, I'm going to spend the rest of this video putting the car back together. So it's currently missing a lot of interior trim still and the side skirts off, as you can see. Just finishing it off a little bit. We're going to be tearing the front end apart in a future video. That's going to be, we're going to do the cooling stuff. I'll show you the radiator I've got. So it's still in the box, but it's just from a company called Deadweight, or however you say it. Swedish performance apparently. but it fits in the factory location down there because these have an oil cooler from factory, but it's quite a lot bigger and it's new for starter. If we just put another factory new one on, we'd have better performance, I'm sure, but this one looks battered and the oil lines are starting to weep slightly, so we're going to change to AN oil lines. We're also going to change to an inline thermostat. We're going to get rid of the factory thermostat and we're going to go to an inline one, and that's from Hell as well. That's something that the Scottish lads, Mr. RDM and his friends, they've all done that and they report very good results. So, but that's not this video. Anyway, let's tidy it up a bit then. Hey, how's this for some bullshit? I need one of these clips, right? Just for the side skirt. I'm putting the side skirt on. It's already been on once, I have to take it back off. I've got all of these universal clips. Look at them all, hundreds of the bastards. And there's not one the same as that. There's not one even close to it. Ridiculous. There's not really a way I can do this without looking like a ghost, so we'll just have to go with it. Right, unfortunately wasn't able to get the side skirt on. I've ordered some clips. Man, the Bezos man has come in clutch once again, cheaper than the eBay's. Getting a bit common, that, a bit weird, isn't it? I've put some lights on here so you can try and see inside. Hopefully it's not too bright, but we're going to make a few changes to the interior which might be a little bit controversial, but this is something that I like. And I saw another M3 recently, Neil, it's an E90 M3, and he'd done this and I thought, well, if he can do it then I can do it. We've also got something special to install, which is from a friend of the channel called Sorek. He's a fella who makes things for BMWs, computer things, and this is one of his little screens that goes into one of the vents there and gives us data about the engine, such as coolant temp, oil temp, but actual numbers, yeah, integers. I've not even opened this package yet, so who knows what could be inside, but this is going to be a fun little thing to install, and then we'll finish off the rest of the interior. There he is, look. Gauge S. I always say gauge. Gauge was one of those words that I saw written down for all my time but never had to say, and then when I got into cars I had to start saying it, and I always thought that said gauge, but it's not, is it? It's gauge. So yeah, we'll see how this gets on. It's a little 3D printed thing that goes in place of one of the vents, and then we've got a little screen. Well, there might be a little bit of wiring to do on that, but we'll get to that. Anyway, let's just make the interior look a bit sporty, look a bit different first. Okay, so the fact that I was removing these screws should give you a clue. So we're changing the trim panel around the shifter here and there. I'm also going to get a gator for here. Once I remember, I keep forgetting. Someone didn't pay attention to the listing, did they? This must have come from a convertible maybe. Well, it still fits, kind of. I'm going to polish my wood. It's definitely heavy. Whoops. There's some grams there. Look at the difference. That's after. I mean, you still, you know. Hold on, hold. Not the Parkside polisher. Oh, look at those swirl marks, mates. Fucking hell. That looks a lot better though. It was only dirty really, but you know. We can't really grip it enough to do any cutting. Just buffed it. Ah. Alright, this ended up being quite a task in the end, so much so that I went home to save it for another day, but here we are. So I'm fitting the gauge S, right? And a little bit more wiring to do than what I anticipated, but that is my fault for not reading the instructions beforehand. But yeah, I've got to wire some connections into the cluster signals, some of the CAN bus stuff, and then we'll have some stuff on there. That little screen, it's going in that vent. There's a video on this online. There's M359's got one, and his video shows installing it very quickly, like it's very easy. And obviously that's not my style. This is a pain in the ass, a little bit of a pain in the ass. But at the same time, I think the end result's going to be good. But rather than me show you me struggling like fuck for 2 hours last night, I thought I'd just get it done. and this is as far as I got. Not very far at all, but I'm going to continue now. Just to give you an idea, 2 plugs into the back of it. You'll see what it is in a minute, right? 2 plugs into the back of it, one's for CAN and one's for data. Look, I've marked them. From that, join some wires together. They both need power and earth, I don't know, but we'll presume so. 5 wires then into the cluster, right? 5 wires then power earth, K-line, CAN high, CAN low, CAN. Let's do it in the car now. Right, this is eventually going to live in that gauge part, well, where the vent was, right? Obviously I've removed that. We're going to see if it works, and I should really get the tripod, but I'll show you better when it's plugged in, right? But now I need another hand. Oh! That's nice. Custom firmware. Alright, well it works. Well, it turns on. It seems to think I'm moving, probably shaking my hand a little bit maybe, but it's got an accelerometer in it. Okay, that's cool. Battery voltage, you're saying 12.9 up there, and yeah, about the same up there. Hang on, let me get it in and I'll show you properly. This is, hopefully the juice is going to be worth a squeeze on this one. I've had to tap into CAN wires, which I've never done before. That was a bit sketch, in my opinion. Well, it's not sketch, but I've just never, you know, you have to, it's the wires that are like, you know, really nicely twisted together for interference reasons, I think. Let me get this in, and this looks like it works anyway, so that's good. Alright, I've got quite a lot to show you. I've been quite busy, but I thought this was pretty interesting. We've got the screen set up there. You see how the top left value is the steering angle? So I'm just turning the steering to the left slightly. I'm gonna let it reset. So I'm just fitting my steering wheel. I've had this steering wheel for a while, just happens to match the harnesses as well. What are the chances? But this came off of a car that Kevin used to have, a little Swift rally car that he never actually rallied, but we'll not talk about that. But yeah, I'm able to use this device. It's got sensors coming from the steering angle. It's got the steering on the CAN line. And I've also got Z4. Where's the cruise control gone, Dan? Well, look, I've installed cruise control from a Z4, but I'll tell you more about that in a second. I just thought that was a cool thing to show you while I align the steering wheel. This might knock my alignment off, but I need to do that anyway. But I thought, whilst we've got the steering angle sensor there, we'll get it straight here. And then, you know, we're going to be changing all the front suspension and stuff anyway, but that's pretty cool, isn't it, Mr. Sorek? Well done. Very nice device. Bit fiddly for me to fit, but very nice device. I'll show you more about it in a minute. Well, unfortunately, much like the DC2 video that preceded this one, the ending is quite chaotic. I was coming to terms with the fact that neither the M3 or the DC2 were going to be ready to go back to the Nürburgring this year in an acceptable state. So to prevent having a big sad, I chucked a gearbox in the back of the 5 Series, drove over to Germany and went to fix the MR2. That will be coming up in a future video. Between then and now though, we've got a little outro with some new specs that I picked up, these Ray-Ban specs that I thought would be great for POV videos. Turns out they only record in portrait mode, so please excuse me this once. The next video is actually an MR2 race video. I decided to throw my hat into the ring once more because the MR2s are racing at Oulton Park, one of my, if not my favourite circuit. That'll be the next video, and then we're going to Germany afterwards. But for now, here is a slightly annoying to watch, I'm sure, outro in the M3, including a road test. We're going to have a little road test. I'm testing out these new spectacles. Apparently they don't do widescreen, imagine that. What a waste of money. Portrait mode. tested these cameras, this eye camera thing, look at that, hello. Yeah, interior's still got a lot to do, it's not quite there yet, but close enough. Still got a horn and trim and stuff to do, but I'm off to the Nürburgring tomorrow, so I just thought I'd see this out with a little test. Well, I want to test the cameras too, right? Yeah, car seems like it's keen to do some good stuff soon, so fingers crossed, eh? Feels fast. Anyway, yeah, that's all. So thanks for watching. Yeah, I'm just going to go fix the MR2. So I could have taken this, but it just, you know, it's still suboptimal, you know. I'm gonna tomorrow next year